We'll call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, December 20th. It is 6:03 PM. Town Council meeting in Town Council Chambers, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick. Jay, would you lead us in prayer?
From the words of Dr. Wayne W. Dyer, I urge you to embrace more silence and to demand more and more time for it in your life. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Licciardi,
Here.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Councilman Bourget,
Here.
Council Vice President Williamson,
Here.
and note for the record that President Goslin is absent. Consent agenda, approval of the minutes from the December 5th, 2022 special town council meeting, the December 6th, 2022 regular town council meeting, and cancellation of taxes in the amount of $4,054.05 as requested by the tax assessor.
I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
A second, sorry.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinances, second reading of ordinance amending sections 2, 3, and 5 of the West Warwick zoning code of ordinances continued from November 1st, 2022.
Move the ordinance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Mary Beth, as I'm here, and as I presented 2 weeks ago, this is merely a codification of state statutes regarding those sections of the zoning code. They would take effect anyway, but this just spells out in our zoning code what the state statute says.
Okay, thank you, Al. Any discussion from the audience? As it is an ordinance. Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
Yes.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilman Bourget,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Second reading of ordinance amending chapter 5 buildings, section 5-7, chapter 7 fire protection and prevention, section 7-27 state code adopted, and chapter 9 housing and residential structures and premises, section 9-1 codes adopted of the code of ordinances of the town of West Warwick.
Move the ordinance.
The,
Is there a
There's-
second? Wait 1 minute, Al. Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second. Okay, Al.
I know there's reservation, it's a difficult, the ADU resolution that I've been pushing very strongly. I still maintain that it's best for the town. I will give the town some good information. Hopkinton hasn't followed our suit, families only. Richmond has followed our suit, families only. And I understand West Greenwich is going down the same road. I'm urging, I know you're on the line, I'm not, but I urge you to adopt it.
Any other discussion?
You're on the line. We're coming back after you.
And actually, Al and I, how many times have I called you about this, Al? More than you would like. There's no doubt about that. I definitely do have mixed emotions about it personally. Yes, it will take care of those unscrupulous type landlords, but I also think it hurts people that may have a legitimate need for housing. But I know that the town planner is behind it, and I know you've put a lot of work into it, Al, so thank you for that. Is there any discussion from the audience?
Mary Beth, what
Yes.
was I said to you earlier, one of my primary concerns is accepting on the face that this is done for affordable housing. In the first area of that, town of West Warwick is exempt from the affordable housing situation. The second thing, and that bothers me the most, is that in the areas of the town that I will say are the newer areas of the town, where their individual homes primary residence, people living there own the home. That's not where this is going to take place. Where this is going to take place, in my opinion, and believe me, I'm not a town planner, but in my discussions with Marilyn, she was in agreement that this is going to affect those areas of our town that are the older areas that I've referred to, because I'm older, as the mill villages, where we find, and I discussed this with Marilyn, a great number of those residents are absentee landlords. What bothers me about that is that the absentee landlord is not concerned about the welfare of the town. The absentee landlord is looking, hey, I got 2 units that I'm renting, and that garage, hey, I can put another one in there. And as Mary Beth and I spoke this afternoon, I dealt last week with Bob Aspel in a serious situation where a woman was taken to the hospital and her son and a neighbor called, and they asked Bob to go look. And when he went in, she was a tenant in the premises. He had to condemn it. So what bothers me is in these situations, it's not the property owner that's suffering. We're putting a tenant out in that particular instance. So my concern is, based on what I've discussed with Marilyn, based on what I've discussed with other attorneys that I respect in this field, that we in the town of West Warwick are particularly in a bad spot to the full extent of this. And that's why I've pushed it so hard. I think that we're unique in our situation. If you're East Greenwich, I don't think it's going to be as harmful there as it could be in our town, where we have the ideal situation for it creating the increase in and I'm not opposed to affordable housing, but we already are at our maximum. And you've got a tax base to worry about. We've got a building official to worry about, the absentee landlord, and you all know where I'm coming from on that. And so that's why I feel so strongly about it.
And as we spoke this afternoon, Al, I agree. Affordable housing shouldn't be an issue here in West Warwick because we've met our quota. However, the accessory dwelling, I think there probably is some need for some of that. And as I said to you, my concern is the absentee landlord and the landlords. I wish we had more ability to address some of the shortfalls that we have in the housing that we have here now. So,
Mary Beth, you would be amazed at the number of telephone conversations I have with Chuck Davy, who does an incredibly great job for our town.
Yeah.
Minimum housing over that exact, what do we do? My hands are tied. And I said to like Denny the Dunce, I don't know what to tell him.
right.
But,
Yeah, I think the fear would be that you could end up with more minimum housing issues going forward, and there's not a small number right now. I mean, I understand probably the intent of what they're trying to do is good, but in some
It's wonderful.
situations, yeah, I think in some situations we could end up with more of the same situations. And like we said, Chuck is overwhelmed with the amount of minimum housing complaints already at this point.
And it sounds as though it's going to be on the agenda at the State House during the course of the year as well, based on some of the things that I've read in the paper and conversations that I've had. Sarah, is there anybody online that would like to speak?
Not it. Nope.
Okay.
Kristen B.
I do know, Mary Beth, that from my last conversation with Jeffrey Tights, who, as I've said to you before, to me is as good as they come in this field. The town, the planners, the attorneys that are in that field don't want to let this issue drop. They all feel there is a place for it. And their biggest concern was that the statute as it was presented just was not a good one. And this is, again, strictly my opinion. I've never been known not to stick my neck out But my concern is that some of the legislature members came up with an idea, they sent it down to legislative council, and unfortunately, they sent it down to attorneys who are very competent, but not attorneys with the planning and zoning background, and they ended up with a bad piece of legislation. That's strictly my personal opinion.
And again, thank you for all the work you've done on it, Al. Is there no other questions?
I want the best for this town.
And that I know, yes. If there are no other questions or issues, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
Yes.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilman Bourget.
Yes.
And
Thank
I-
you very, very much.
And I vote yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Al, for all you've done on, all the work you've done on it.
Liquor licenses, town council acting as a liquor license commission, consideration of expired liquor licenses, JJ's Cafe, M&M Food Service LLC, and Eastside Pub and Grub Inc. I'm happy to report that at this time, the
I just
only,
want to recuse myself before you.
oh, sure, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The only outstanding license we have at this time would be Eastside Pub and Grub Inc., which is Miss Cranston Diner. We have not heard from the owner on that. There's been no response to our correspondence.
Have we made a visit or not?
We haven't as of this point.
So JJ's and M&M Food are,
They're okay and
they're
issued.
okay.
Yep,
and they're issued.
yes. I believe
So-
both of them Thursday afternoon, maybe Friday. We're all
Okay.
set.
Okay. So tell me what the next steps would be, Sarah, as far as the East Side Pub goes.
That's up to you guys. I know last year we gave them, I think, 7 days to come within compliance.
Them
And
and some others like Borowski's and
yeah, yep.
there's some others. So I would do the same thing as we did last year.
So this is the only one in
It is
town
the
at
only
this point in
one.
time?
Yep. I think that if we continue on this path of, making sure they know these are the dates that they have to be done, that, we'll see less and less every year.
So who pays the visit? Or is it just done by phone or?
So we do. I don't know.
I think we could, if you draft a letter out of your office, we could have it hand delivered
I think that's what we did last year. Yep.
and have them compliant by the end of the year.
That
And
seems-
you can act on the third if you need to.
Police officer deliver it.
Right.
Yeah.
That seemed to work best.
Yes.
So you will draft a letter?
Yeah.
Have it hand delivered by a police officer?
Yep. If you just
that's,
would direct me on a date to give them a deadline.
This is what we struggled with last year because of the holidays and the new year and everything else. I don't remember what date we used last year. I know we didn't wait till the new year.
I could probably look back and tell you.
I think we
looking
talked
at
about 7
minutes.
days at one point in
I
time.
think it
but-
was 7 days. So your next meeting is going to be on January 3rd. So if we draft letters tomorrow, as long as they had everything completed by the 29th,
That's fine. I think.
then that would avoid having to put them on. For open meetings purposes, Tim, do you know if January 2nd is considered a holiday? Or not, because that would make a difference in the posting of my
Why
agenda.
January 2nd?
Because it's
State
officially,
It might be the
celebrates.
state
That's-
observed holiday.
Yes.
And you gotta go back, you can't count them anytime.
So then I can't do the 29th. I would have to say the 28th.
If you think that's too tight, we could say you're going to be reviewed at the council meeting on the 3rd and not compliant that night. You'll be on the agenda for the 17th for revocation. If
well,
But you could
actually,
also-
can't you actually say that on the 3rd? If we don't have it resolved by the 3rd,
The letter last year notified them that if they weren't in compliance by a date certain, they were going to be revoked. I
So maybe
think,
we give them the January 3rd date.
right.
And if they haven't done it by the time I have to post, I just put them on the agenda and hopefully I come back to you with good news that on the
If
3rd.
there is no date of demarcation, they'll ignore it. But if you tell them that if they don't get everything done by a date certain, they're going to be revoked. I think that's what helped out last year.
Yeah, I think so too.
so the council would revoke the license on January 3rd if the provisions needed aren't met. You guys comfortable with that?
They've had all year.
Yeah.
We sent them their
Everybody else
renewal
has to do it.
August 1st.
I mean, But they've been in business there for at least
They're
5
not brand
years.
new, so
Yeah,
it's
they're
not as
brand
though-
new, so.
Right, right.
Okay.
You need a vote on that? Tim?
As to, you're just recommending through the manager's recommending to the clerk, so there won't be a vote.
Okay, thank you.
All right, appointments and resignations, request from Albert Haro for reappointment to the Pension Board for term expiring November 18th, 2025.
Take a motion.
Make a motion to move the name of Albert Haro for reappointment.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Al's been the chair of the pension board for a number of years at this point in time. And although we have indeed moved into the state system, there are still things that do need to be addressed. And I think there's a meeting tomorrow, is there not?
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
We still gonna have a pension board come 2025?
By charter, you have one, whether or not they'll be doing any work.
Right. So it'll be there, it might be dormant. And then the question is, we'll review the charter and put it before the voters to remove it. It's not necessary. So there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Request from Colleen Flynn for appointment to the Board of Canvassers and Registration for 6-year term.
Motion?
Make a motion for the appointment of Colleen Flynn to the Board of Canvassers.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, and I know that we received a letter from Chair of Democratic Committee. Felix, do you want to say anything? If you'd come up,
Just state your name, address, please.
yes.
Apollonia, 10 Fernwood Drive. Over the years, Colleen has been asked to work by the clerk and members of the Board of Canvassers. I know she's worked as a poll worker, a clerk, and a moderator, and I know she's done some training. She could elaborate on that, but I'm certain she's done some training. I think they've asked for her by name because of her experience, and I think she would serve the board well.
There's no doubt Colleen's been involved for many, many years and has a ton of experience. And I do know that you have done some training and helped out the clerk's office on a regular basis. So I have a motion and a second. Any other?
I just want to thank her for coming tonight, because a lot of times we get appointments and reappointments, they just don't show up, so thank you.
Exactly right. Exactly right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Colleen. Thank you very much.
New business, November financial report from the Finance Director.
And Kristen is online.
She is.
On, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Loud and clear?
Hurry up.
More than loud and clear.
I'll speak in a whisper.
No, that's okay.
I'm just going to summarize the memo because you all have it in front of you. But current tax collections are running as usual, about 10% ahead of where we expected. Our expenditures are pretty close, within 2% of where we would expect them to be at 5 months into the year. Civic Center operating expenditures that are about 278,000, and their revenues are at about 314,000. I also attached a breakdown of the pension costs, because now that we're in MERS, they're hitting into the departments directly, as opposed to when we used to pay an ARC. So we're seeing real-time pension costs, and we can't do any kind of reallocation from the general government department to the departments till, I believe it's the last 3 months of the fiscal year per the charter. So we can do that sometime in April, but I wanted you to see that we're hitting the mark where we're supposed to be with that. And I also updated the capital analysis so you could see where we stood with that. We are wrapping up the audit. I've been going through the draft the last couple of days, updating footnotes, and the tax sale process is going to start in late January. And we have finally nailed down a date to upgrade our tax collection and assessing software at the end of February. Does anyone have any questions?
Anybody have questions for Kristen? No? Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Approval of West Warwick Winterfest event to be held on January 7th, 2023.
Mark,
Is Chief Barone on?
chief?
Is this is this a resolution?
Yeah, there's no resolution attached. But I'm not sure it requires one, quite honestly.
I think it's more of just a discussion action that you
Correct.
support it. I don't think there's any licensing that's going to be
Okay.
required for this.
Chief Varone,
Yes, hello there.
aye.
Yeah, so after one of the council meetings, a few people were getting, talking about yard waste and Christmas trees. And I had been to an event where they had like a large bonfire. They had like music and hot chocolate and s'mores and things. It was a very nice event. We were thinking that we could do the same type of thing with the Christmas trees. And so that's kind of the baseline of what this event would be. This talk like
My understanding is we're talking about in River Point.
in
that
River
correct?
Point Park. Yes. So Director Caldwell and Lori Swanson, Nicole and I, Sarah, we had a meeting, a bunch of people, and that's what we had come up with, like over near the Little League fields for the bonfire, and that whole area kind of where the buses are parked would be the area, maybe get some food trucks and the high school choir maybe, or middle school, or would be.
It
So
sounds,
it's kind of very fluid right now. This is not a defined thing, but it is a nice community event, and that's what it's planned to be.
I mean, it sounds like fun. I know that you said you have attended one in the past. Anytime the fire chief wants you to have a bonfire, I'm good with that. I mean, I'm okay with that. So, I mean, I would think that would be the guy we'd have to get it by. So as long as it's your
Mhm.
idea, it sounds good to
So-
me.
Yeah, and so we did, just so you know, we did reach out to the trust, just to make sure that, that it was within their coverage, and it is within their coverage. And they did, give us some guidelines.
So it sounds like this is a notice to people to hold a date, and there's more information to come. Is that right?
That is correct. January 7th is what we did, a rain date of the 21st, just in case, another factor with having the fire would be the wind speed.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
if we're above, we'll probably postpone it. So
So to clarify, like people would bring the trees, or would we still be picking them up for regular pickups and then you just bring them down for the bonfire? Okay, Jeff is
So,
saying yes.
yes, both, I believe, if Jeff is there, he could speak to that, but I know they will be picking up and using, those trees, but if someone wanted to bring it, we would absolutely burn them, if they brought them that day.
Jeff?
Only real trees though, not artificial.
Good evening. Yeah, we're gonna stop picking up trees on January 1st. I know
Okay.
a lot of people don't have them out that early, but we're gonna stop picking up January 1st, and anybody who wants to bring their tree with them, they can bring it, put it in a designated area, and then we'll put it on the fire as needed. So it should be a good event.
What's your end date to pick up trees?
February 3rd.
And not if you want to get part of the bonfire.
That's right.
Right. After February 3rd, you gotta bring them to DPW.
I love the bonfire idea. I really do. I like old time, like family,
Right.
community events,
Yeah, we're gonna make it,
They just had the
Very nice.
chorus, Kent County chorus and, things like that. It just,
I agree.
need to bring back the good old things that, simple and fun and
That was our intention, just to get back into that old town feel, of
Mhm.
community and fun.
people can get away from these things for a little while, except to take a picture of the fire or something, it's like spend some time with other human beings. It's wonderful.
And actually, there's some benefit as far as what we would need to pay to get rid of those trees. And yes, so there's a plus all around. So I think it sounds like a great idea. And as I said, this is more of a save the date and more information to come.
we will have what, one meeting before then, I guess.
January 3rd, we'll have a meeting, yes. But I'm sure that we can use Code Red to get things out and word out too.
There goes the money saved.
Yeah. Mhm. Nah, I don't think that's that expensive. So yes, I think it's exciting and I'm looking forward to it. So full speed ahead.
All right. Resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 Fisher polycast sanders in the amount of $15,000.
I move the resolution.
Motion, second.
Second.
There's a second. Would you like to talk about this, Mr. Caldwell?
We're looking to purchase 2 new Sanders for our new trucks that we're receiving. The money's coming, most of it's coming out of what's left in our capital. And the remaining balance will come out of our general fund. Excuse me, our supplies and expenses, I apologize. It's to just equip our trucks with the Sanders that we need for winter operations, the new trucks.
And I'm happy to see that you're buying local, so that's a good thing too, right?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of that
Yes.
personally.
Any
Plus,
questions?
they were one of the only companies that could get them, to be totally honest with you.
It's good to know.
So-
Yes.
I have a question, not the sand, but sand itself. Are we going back to sand? I know a few years ago we did away with sand.
I'm gonna have sand on hand, but I'd rather not. If you look at the cost analysis to the cleanup afterwards at the end of the year, it's a shorter time as far as sweeping, less debris that we're taking to the landfill that we're paying to get rid of. And it's just an all around, if you look at it, you're saving money all the way around. Initially, there's an expense because salt is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But the cleanup is better. You're getting down to bare pavement faster. We will have sand on hand, like I said, for, in case you get called in, you get a hail and accident or something to that effect, we will have sand. But in my personal opinion, the salt is the way to go.
Any other questions for Jeff?
As far as that, you guys, I don't know if you can discuss this now, are you guys all set? You think if we get like with a storm, you guys are all good to go?
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be ready to go.
Hopefully no snow soon, but
Start knocking on wood.
yes, yeah.
Well,
That's not what I don't.
we
think, but
we
that's-
dodged the bullet come this Friday, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
In
But
more
it's going
ways
to
than
be a
you can
lot of
imagine.
rain though, right?
Yeah, a lot of rain.
There was talk of like a
Yeah,
foot and a half of
serious,
snow at one
serious.
point.
No,
We don't, we, not this weekend.
no,
No.
we don't need it.
But
Yeah.
for this Friday, don't you brought up this Friday, are drains cleared? Or being
Yeah, we did
cleared?
some drains today. We're doing some more tomorrow. Thursday we'll have crews out there. And Friday morning, we will have crews out there again cleaning drains before they leave at 11 o'clock. We came across some drains today, some of our trouble spots that were clogged. I think some of it was man-made, but that's another story. But no, they cleared out at least all our trouble spots today, and they started going around doing all the road drains. So they will be cleared by Friday. Plus, we'll be obviously monitoring the whole day on Friday because of the way the weather's going to be with the wind and everything else. So
Thanks.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Discussion regarding the lease or sale of 30 Payne Street to Child Inc.
Mark,
Quick one, the solicitor and I have a meeting scheduled with their CEO and CFO on Thursday morning. So that'll be our initial exchange of information to see what direction that they're interested in heading and start working on pursuing it.
no preliminary, I mean,
No, she asked some general questions on, what we were thinking, and I just provided my opinion, but that's something we'll have to exchange a little further. But the initial one will be by Zoom. And then we'll
Okay.
set something up for, I assume, probably shortly after the holidays to dig a little deeper.
And once there's some meat on the bone, as they say, I think it would be appropriate for the council to have a workshop to figure out exactly the route everybody wants to go as a majority, whether you want to sell it or lease it, and then discuss some of the terms, because right now we're going to be doing our homework about the other properties that they have within the state and what other entities like them, if they're even out like them, whether they rent or own. So we'll pretty much have an idea of where we're going to go. But ultimately, the council will make the decision about whether leasing or selling it.
Any questions? Thank you. And that's Thursday. You're going to meet with them.
Thursday
Yes.
morning, yes.
Obviously, we said we're gonna keep this as an ongoing discussion on like. the
Yes,
agenda.
until we know, I mean, the last time,
Third meeting.
yeah, yes. I mean, we chatted last time about
Yeah.
the pluses and pros and cons
Yeah,
of
but
leasing
at least
versus owning. and-
Maybe on the third, we'll have a better idea
Yes.
and set up a workshop from there.
Yes.
All right, upcoming appointments, Sewer Use Board of Review, appointment to fill a vacancy as an alternate member for a 3-year term. Sewer Use Board of Review, appointment to fill a vacancy as a regular member for a 3-year term. Board of Assessment and Review, appointment to fill a vacancy as a regular member for a term ending March 2024. The Board of Canvassers position was filled. And the West Warwick Housing Authority, appointment or reappointment for 5-year term expiring November 2027. Public forum.
Does anybody have, I mean, other than the obvious of wishing everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas? A lot of people are sick. There's no doubt about that. So hopefully people get well and stay well.
I just want to, I got to go back to my Green Bush thing. I know it's not in the agenda, but yesterday morning, I'm driving down that way, and as I'm approaching the backlog of traffic, I get a phone call from Councilman Licciardi, and he says, "Hey, guess where I am?" I don't know where I am. He says, "Sitting in the traffic at Green Bush. Been here for 11 minutes now." And I was like, "Oh, I'm just pulling up to it." So sitting there, we're talking, and I see this one car pull off to the side. Guy gets out, the passenger seat, goes around, gets his daughter out of the back seat and walks up the driveway. Well, the wife or girlfriend or whatever it might be, turns around and pulls up on that side. And as I move up a little bit, I see a teacher approach the guy and see words go back and forth. And then the teacher grabs the little girl's hands and walks her into the school, and he comes back down. So I put my window down because I have plenty of time because traffic's not moving. And I said, "She tell you can't walk your daughter up there?" He goes, "Yeah, she did." I was like, "Oh, all right. Just wanted to check." I said, "I'm the councilman for this area and trying to get this thing fixed. But this is how bad it is because everybody gets stuck in it. And that's why everybody goes left to center. And there's going to be an accident there someday. We really need to get this fixed. It's not a good situation over there. And now you got people walking across the street, walking up driveways, because they got to get to work. Everybody's got a life. They got to move on."
I was, as I was sitting in traffic, thinking about it, I know to redo the traffic pattern is probably gonna take quite a bit. It's not gonna be done overnight. Is there any way to get a crossing guard over there? Or someone to at least, I mean, I was in traffic for 15 minutes. That's quite a long time. And it's nice now. As soon as we get inclement weather, you're looking at that 15 minutes, and I had to get to work too. So 15 minutes is gonna turn into 22
Yeah.
minutes. It's a big chunk of time.
Last Wednesday at the meeting, the joint meeting with the school committee, they did talk about how they expected the study that they had commissioned to be done. My understanding is that they may have received that today. I'm not sure. I'm sure that the superintendent will be in touch with Mark.
I'm just bringing it up again because again, this has been an issue at least 15 years. And it's not going to get better, as I keep saying, is because we're building more houses. I'm not saying stop building houses.
No.
It's putting more students into school, which brings more traffic. That school was designed for the student population of 30 years ago.
And that's gonna, as you said, Jason, it's not gonna be an easy fix to change the traffic pattern. I don't think is gonna be easy, but maybe this study has come up with some ideas that we haven't thought about. So certainly, I'm sure that the schools will
To
share
answer your
that.
question about personnel, I mean, obviously, the school department
Right.
funds those positions. I don't think I'm in a position to tell them. I can have the chief detail a police officer there, obviously subject to emergencies. Well, if I'm detailing a police officer, I think it's ours, unless.
Is there is no
agreement made,
crossing
but
guard there?
No, there's really no crossing because
Yeah,
it's
The
not
way it goes.
walkable.
Right,
So
right.
a crossing.
There's only a crossing
yeah.
guard because people stop on the other side of the
Right,
road.
we need someone to
Yes,
regulate,
yes,
all right, this
yeah.
lane goes that way.
Which is probably more of a police function than a crossing guard function.
Yeah.
But like I said, last week, there was a police officer sitting at the let out. where he was on like one of the ghost cars, which means no light bars or anything. So he said with mixed in with all the parents, watching. I don't know if he got any tickets or not, but at least I know the police department's trying to do what they can when they can. It's just not a good area. And I'm just gonna keep driving it home until hopefully something gets accomplished. So
It's nobody's fault.
no,
just-
it's
No,
not
it's
anybody's
just,
fault.
it is.
It just needs to
and
be
it-
addressed.
And I'm
The
not
bad
sure
news
if
is-
physical stuff is actually,
With the
gonna be
wetlands
feasible
and
or
all
work.
that, that's the problem.
It-
I'd say.
it just
Yeah.
be-
There's a
might be
lot of
more
wasted
request.
Area within that parking lot that it could be fixed.
might be more request and education to convince more people to utilize busing, but when it's your children, you do what you think's best.
Well, I think when COVID happened, a lot of people started taking their children to school and
Like I
that
said,
made it
this has
even
been an
worse.
issue
It has been an issue for
a long
forever,
time,
but
so
that
exasperated it. but-
yes, yeah. Any public comment?
David would like to speak when you have.
David?
Good evening, everyone. Mark, I did bump into Ken Townsend last night. He did receive that report late yesterday afternoon, so I'm sure Karen probably got it today, as Councilwoman said. So hopefully we'll get a result there. Secondly, I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but I wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I have a little something for you. I'll bring it on January 3rd.
Hopefully it's not your COVID case. Is that a, yes, how are
Well,
you
I-
feeling? You don't
unfortunately-
sound great.
Fortunately, I've been COVID-free for over 2.5 years, so I just happened to get it. And I don't know where I got it from, but
Well, hopefully you feel better.
I wish everybody a good, safe and healthy Christmas and New Year's.
Same to you, David, and your family.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Merry Christmas.
All in favor? Aye, yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.